Hey there. So last week I had a video go viral on Twitter, and in this video I was showcasing a use case for my AI agent that is able to connect to my Readwise account, is able to extract highlights for a specific book or a specific document. This one at the time it was for the book Influence, and then take all these highlights and summarize them into, well, it could be a 600 word, it could be a 800 word article, it could be based on a specific style. So I kind of recorded a very quick video at the time, but I promised that I would record a longer video where I would give a walkthrough of my AI agent library for that specific use case. And by the way, if you are interested in the AI agent library in itself, it's called Nagato AI. It is available on GitHub. It's fully open source. And I keep maintaining the code. I keep, fixing bugs, adding new functionalities, adding new tools. And in this video, I wanted to show you how you could use Nagato AI to do the same thing as me, or to do other things, or to extend it if you want to. So to kickstart, you just need to download firstly the code. So you can obviously fork it, or you can just do a git clone once it's on your machine. Where you have to go is you should actually start from this example, which is located on the docs examples, and it's the coordinator, researcher, and critic agent configuration that I use by default. So with AI agents, of course, you can kind of employ different kind of agents. And for me, what I found works well, and I've used it to so many use cases, is to have a coordinator agent, which is responsible for planning ahead what are the tasks that are going to be done, or that are going to have to be done in order to reach the objective. And then we've got a researcher agent, and that's really maybe more of a misnomer. It's more of a worker agent, and the worker agent is executing the tasks one after the other. And finally, you have a critic agent, which is essentially evaluating the work that was done by the researcher agent. And a task consists of really two things. It consists of a goal, so that's the objective of the task, and there's a description associated with the task. And so the the critic agent, is going to be looking at not only the result of the task which was produced by the research agent, but it's going to also look at the specification of the task. And by this, I mean it's going to look at the goal that was specified in the task alongside with the with the description of the task, and it's going to say whether the researcher has completed the task or not. And if it hasn't, or if the critic agent deems that the researcher hasn't completed the task, then it's going to ask the researcher agent to do the task again and again and again. Right now in the code, I think I get the critic agent to ask up to 3 times, and if it doesn't, then it kind of just gives up. But of course, this is completely configurable. You can change it when you go into the specific runner that is responsible for orchestrating all this. But anyway, so I wanted to show you, we've got a coordinator agent, and so this is using Claude 3 Opus. So this is responsible once again for doing the planning, and Claude 3 Opus works really well. I love it. I think it's a great model. It's got great reasoning capabilities, and it's also good at generating text. For the researcher / worker, we are using Claude 3 Sonnet, and Sonnet is a solid model. For the kind of tasks that I'm giving the researcher agent to do, I think Sonnet is okay. We don't necessarily need something as powerful as GPT-4.0, but I've experimented with GPT-4.0 and it's also pretty good. But from what I understand, Sonnet is cheaper than 4.0, so I want to save up on tokens. But if you want to, you could use GPT-4.0. You could even use Llama 3 with Grok as well. We do have a Grok agent. And for the critic agent, I used to be using Claude 3 Haiku, which was amazing. And now I am really, really in love almost with Gemini 1.5 Flash. It's fast. It's really fast. It's got amazing context window, which I'm not even using. It's got a 1 million token window, context window. and it's also pretty cost effective. So actually three things. It's pretty cost effective. So now I've actually replaced Haiku with Gemini 1.5 Flash as the critic agent, and it's just straight to the point, and it tells me, or it tells the research agent when it fails. So that is my agent configuration. You can change it to whatever you want on your end as well. You could use, as I said, you could use Llama 3, you could use Claude 3, one of the Claude 3 models, you could use GPT 3.5 or GPT 4 or GPT 4.0, really up to you. As you know, with agentic systems or AI agent systems, you give agents a set of tools so that you can extend their capabilities. And I've created a bunch of tools in Nagato. So you can see actually in here, in the code, you can see how to create a tool. It's actually pretty straightforward. You need to just create the config, which encapsulates the parameters that you pass into the tool / to the function, and the tool itself, which takes in the config as the parameters. And then of course you've got the run method, which executes the tool. So I've got a bunch of tools here, and you'll see for our specific use case, most of these tools actually won't be invoked. But for the things that we are interested in, most likely we'll have the Readwise document finder tool that is being invoked, and we'll have the Readwise highlights lister tool. The other tools probably won't be invoked. And by the way, before I dive further, I want to take you to Readwise, because the use case that we are going to cover here is essentially tapping into our Readwise account and extracting the highlights for a specific, right now it's going to be a specific article or book. We're going to take this one. So we're going to extract the highlights from the press release of Llama 3. And we are going to ask our AI agent system to take those highlights and to summarize them, maybe in a 600 word markdown type of document. And so this is what we'll do. And the first thing that I would expect the agent to do is to figure out, well, given the title, how do I find the document ID? So it's going to invoke, as I mentioned, the Readwise document finder tool. And then afterwards, it's going to take that document ID that it's got via the Readwise API for that article, and it is going to fetch the highlights given the document ID, which should be this, and from there it's going to just summarize the highlights using just the contents of the highlights that has been passed into the context window of the worker agent. So the way actually Nagato works, and there's many ways you can kind of shape the workflow of Nagato, but the way I like to get Nagato to work is I initially get the user to type a problem statement. So you don't actually write code to configure kind of, the task, etc. You get the user, in that case, you could actually configure the task if you want to, but in this specific use case, I get the user to input in plain English what it is that they want to achieve. And this information gets passed on to the coordinator agent. And the coordinator agent analyzes this information and creates two things. It first creates an objective. So it essentially understands what is the overarching goal that needs to be achieved, that needs to be attained, and then it produces tasks that the researcher agent, as I mentioned earlier, will execute in order to complete the goal. So this is exactly what happens here. You can see in the coordinator exchange, we send a specific prompt. It's kind of the problem statement prompt. You can actually look in the code what it looks like. And the coordinator agent will come back with a plan that contains tasks and contains an objective. I call this a mission. And so the mission essentially is the objective alongside with the tasks. And each one of the tasks is then executed by the researcher agent, and they're executed inside this class, which I call a single agent task runner. So there's an abstract class called a task runner. So you can actually create your own task runners. If you want to extend Nagato, you could have multiple agents, you could have funky logic in there. But in there, essentially, what we do, we have the we pass in the previous task, we pass in the current task. Maybe in the future we'll have to pass in more things as well, not only the previous and the current task, but maybe the history of all the tasks, so that you could use the result of the previous task into your current task as well. We pass in the tool registry, so this is essentially the structure that contains all the tools that are available to the agent, and we also pass in what we call agent tool providers, which is responsible for extracting the JSON schema of the tool for that specific LLM. Because when you send your request to either OpenAI or Anthropic for Claude 3, you need to specify your schema, but the schemas that you specify for OpenAI are different in shape than the schemas that you specify to Claude. So that's why I created this provider class that enables you to kind of introspect the configuration of the tool and generate a JSON schema for the target LLM that you are using for your agent. And so this single task agent runner just uses my agent, my worker agent, and it's also got the critic agent as the task evaluator. And what this does, essentially, it kind of runs the task and it gets the critic agent to evaluate the task. And if the critic agent is not happy, then it will get the worker agent to run again and again. And you can see that in this method run, you can see that we retry up to 3 times. And so after the 3rd time, we will exit. We'll exit. We'll basically say, look, we've tried and we failed. Let's move on. In the future, maybe I could even exit the program, or I could pause the program and get some kind of user input or user interruption. The next bit is, well, at the end, actually, we are at the end. At the end, I just take the I just take all the answers from all of the tasks. And I put them in a markdown document inside the outputs folder, and that's it. We are done after this. You can then check your output folder. So I think I've spoken a lot, and I haven't shown a lot of the execution. I haven't shown any execution. So I think it's about time we did actually try to run this. So let me bring this into the center. What we're going to do as well, we are going to copy the prompt that I'm interested in. So the one that I want actually contains llama 3. So I believe it's this one. So we want to do this. And so let's do it. We're going to move this back here. Okay, so now I've got my problem statement, and I'm just going to paste it. So let's run Nagato. So you can see I'm doing poetry run blah 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 Nagato. So I'm running this coordinator researcher critic.py file that you can see here, and it's asking me to enter a problem statement for Nagato to solve. And so this is the problem statement that I'm writing. So write a 600-word summary from the highlights of the article titled Introducing Llama 3, the most capable openly available LLM to date. This is the name of this webpage from Meta. And it's also the name of the document or the title of the document in my Readwise. And I just make sure that the summary is in Markdown format. So ready, on your marks, go. Let's see, so this is going to take a bit of time. So the first step, as I mentioned, is we are sending the request to the coordinator agent. And so the coordinator agent is going to break down the problem statement into an objective and into a set of tasks. And you'll see very soon what this task looks like. By the way, I'm using XML. It works really, really well for my use case, especially with Claude. So this is really fast, by the way. You can see that the first thing that it does is it's calling the tool to find the Readwise document finder. As I predicted, it's able to find the ID. It's the same as on the web page here. And then it's finding the highlights. So it's found all the highlights here. You can see the highlights from this from the worker agent. And what's in red, by the way, is the critic agent just evaluating the task. And you can see the whole prompt, everything. And the critic agent, okay, is saying, well, this is meeting the requirements. So it's meeting the requirement every step of the way for every task. And this is actually the summary that was produced. I'm not sure if it's 600 words, but it's definitely in Markdown. It seems to make sense as well. It's got the key, I think the key talking points about the press release from Meta that I highlighted. And now it's pretty much done. So I have essentially generated a 600, it's a 600 word document of this article, sorry. And so yeah, this is the actual summary. So this is the 600 word summary, not document, sorry. And you can see that, well, this is the summary. So Meta has unveiled Llama 3, the next generation of its state-of-the-art open source language model. This release features pre-trained and instruction fine-tuned, etc. So this is a generic summary that was created using Claude 3 Sonnet, but you can actually make this a bit more elaborate by getting the researcher agent to learn more about your writing style. So one of the things that I've actually done for other summaries is I've put in a text file articles or blog posts from myself, and I got the agent to read those files to understand my writing style and then to generate a summary in my writing style. So maybe what I could do in a video in the future is show you how you could do the same thing as well. But as you can see, we have generated a summary. The summary, I believe, is pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't doubt the summary. The the critic agent has said that the summary meets the requirements. So I would also believe that it's done the right thing. And it also, by the way, it not only outputs whether it meets the requirement, it also explains why it does so in its evaluation tag. So this is essentially me trying to add more interpretability into, I guess, the actions of my worker agent and also into the reasoning of my critic agent as well. So that's it for this video. This is way longer than I had wanted it. In the future, I'm going to try to be more concise. But yeah, I just wanted to show you how you could do that with Nagato. So yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah, you hear from me soon.